Taos Cone, Red Dome, Old Mike Peak, and Simpson Peak. I went on this trip with my son Garrett Robinson, September 14, 2007. We went through the town of Red River, New Mexico, then headed south to the Wheeler Peak Wilderness Parking Area. After a short hike into the Wheeler Peak Wilderness, the trail divides. One way follows the east fork of the Red River to Lost and Hidden Lakes. We went that way last year when we hiked Wheeler Peak. The other way follows Sawmill Creek, the next canyon to the east. We hiked 5.5 miles to the headwaters of Sawmill Creek with full backpacks. We set up our base camp in a forested area at the very end of the stream. We put up our tent and rain fly. I brought 2 1-pound T-bone steaks and we cooked them over the coals. They were delicious. We enjoyed an evening campfire and went to bed. The next morning, we left early to conquer 4 mountain peaks. We both had GPSs and headed straight through the thick forest towards the top of Taos Cone. We had to pass through the forest of fallen trees. It was an obstacle course to reach a clearing near the cone. This was especially difficult for Garrett because of knee injuries related to his work. Finally, we were out of that thick forest and made Taos Cone, elevation 12,240 feet. We headed towards Red Dome when we were met with gunshots. Garrett heard the bullet before we heard the sound. We were on the edge of the National Forest, but did not realize the other edge was Taos Indian Reservation. Maybe a few signs? We went back to talk. The Indian Reservation Rangers gave us their card and said it would be okay to visit the peaks. We then did Red Dome, elevation 12,661 feet, followed by the third highest in New Mexico, Old Mike Peak, 13,113 feet, then over to Simpson Peak, which was elevation 12,976 feet. We saw some female bighorn sheep along the way. The peak tops were windy and quite chilly, and we both had on jackets. When we had to make the return trip to our base camp, it was very easy across the mountain tops. We had to reclimb some of the peaks, but when we reached the forest, we had to bushwhack through hundreds of downed trees. It was one of the hardest single-day hikes that we both had done. When we returned, we had hiked 10.5 miles over 9-hour and 15-minute period of time. We had a nice campfire. We put some coins in the campfire just for some fun. Maybe someday someone will find them. Sunday the 16th, we had a delicious egg and sausage breakfast. Almost the entire camp, we were watched by curious gray jays coming very close to look at us. Occasionally, we saw tree squirrels watching us from up high. We packed up our stuff and headed down the trail and back to the parking area. It was beautiful country with beautiful vistas. One of my very favorite things in life is getting out on backpacking trips with my son Garrett. The total 3-day hike was 21.6 miles, and we had a total up-down elevation gain of 4,176 feet. So here we are September 16th, 2007. Garrett Robinson and Phil Robinson. And this is our camping area. We're just about to leave. There's my backpack. And there's Garrett's backpack. And down here, it's a beautiful area. This is where we had our campfire. We're all cleaned up and ready to go. There's our little campfire circle. And beautiful forested, wooded area. And we're just about to load up to head out. And we're kind of right on the edge of a little meadow, which you can see through the trees and the stream. We had our tent quite a ways away from the campfire area, and mostly because of the food. But right on the edge we have a little stream by our place and a pretty little meadow. That's the direction we went.